各位同事
Members, good morning. It's now 10:30. Let me call to order the first meeting of the panel on manpower. First, we need to elect the chairman. I'd like to call your attention to the fact that, according to Rule 77(6) of the Rules of Procedure, a member who is now the chairman or deputy chairman of a government advisory body relevant to the panel shall not be the chairman or deputy chairman of this panel. Rule 77(7) of the ROP also provides that a member shall not be the chairman or deputy chairman of more than one panel at the same time. Please note those points. First, let me invite nominations. A valid nomination shall be made orally by a member, seconded by at least one other member, and accepted by the member being nominated. Nominations are invited now. Mr. Andrew Wen, I nominate Mr. Yiu-chung. Any seconders? Mr. Alvin Young seconds. Mr. Yiu-chung, do you accept nomination? Please speak out. I do. Thank you. So this is a valid nomination. Any other nominations? I'll count to 3 or 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No more nominations. There is only one valid nomination. I declare that Mr. Yiu-chung is elected chairman. Please take the chair. Members, now we need to elect the deputy chairman of the panel on manpower. A valid nomination shall be made orally by a member, seconded by at least one other member, and accepted by the member being nominated. Now may I invite nominations? Yes? I nominate Mr. Jonathan Ho. Any seconder? Miss Alice Mack seconds. Mr. Ho, do you accept nomination? I do. Thank you. Any other nominations? I will ask again, any other nominations? I will count to 3. 1, 2, 3. No other nominations. Mr. Jonathan Ho is the deputy chairman.
Let
us take a look at the schedule of meetings for 2016-17. Members, you should have the schedule tabled before you. We hold our regular meetings on the third Tuesday of each month at 4:30 p.m. We shall conduct about 9 meetings in 2016-17. Any views on the dates and also the time? We will accept those dates. Let me just remind members that from the 14th to the 17th of April, we have the Easter break. The regular meeting scheduled for the 18th of April might have to be postponed. But there is still some time before April. Members can now comment on it, or you can put forward your views later to see whether that meeting date has to be changed. If members have no particular views now, I will confirm that meeting date with you later. Let us look at the items for discussion at the next meeting. Members, any proposals? Mr. Michael Tian, Chairman. Well, not necessarily at the next meeting, but in the coming year, I would be concerned about a few things. Number one, the so-called working incentive transport subsidy scheme. I'd like to know whether a review is upcoming. There are many loopholes. People may take only one stop and then they get the same amount of subsidy. I have heard many things and people are not using it for traveling. Number two, lack of manpower for elderly services. The population is fast aging. There will just be more and more demand for elderly services. Young people don't want to join the industry. I think this is becoming something like the construction industry, but this is even worse because some of the jobs belong to obnoxious duties list, and this is its congenital weakness. I think we need to think about this. And also, I'd like to talk about release of the labor of women. Many women have told us that they would like to read courses. They would like to learn new skills so they can work part-time. But half-day courses at the Employees Retraining Board are not subsidized. When I was chairman of the ERB, I mentioned that point because subsidy is only for whole-day courses, but the situation has not changed. Thank you, Mr. Michael Tian. I think your points are all important, but we need to give them order. Together with the Deputy Chairman, we'll meet the Bureau to assign priority to these items. Dr. Helena Wong, did you raise your hand? Yes, I did, Chairman. I'd like to advance the review of the paternity leave. When it was enacted, the administration promised that a review would be done a year after the enactment, but a year has lapsed. I hope there will also be a review of maternity leave. The maternity leave is for 10 weeks, and that has been the case for a few decades. I hope there will be a review as well, and we want the information quick. I agree with Mr. Michael Tian that we should try to release the labor of women. We'd like to hear from the administration what measures there are to help women work in society. The complementary measures of quota for whole-day kindergarten, nursery care, and other services. These should be put in our list of issues to be discussed. Well, Mr. Kwok Wai Keung, Mr. Michael Look, and Mr. Jonathan Ho, on the 20th of October, put forward a letter together to indicate what items should be discussed. We will take them on board. Before the next meeting, we will take these up with the Bureau. All right? Dr. Fernando Cheung, Chairman. Apart from the items raised by members which I agreed to, I'd like to talk about the policy of contracting out of government services. This was discussed in 2015. But in the past year or so, we did not see a lot of improvement. The FEHD contracted out services, for example, that's still the subject of exploitation. Only the statutory minimum wage is given, and sometimes people flout labor laws when services are contracted out. I think there is an urgency for us to take up this matter. And the other one is employment for the disabled. What kind of policies and measures there are, and what is the effectiveness of such? Thank you. Honorable Shiu Ka-chun. Thank you, Chairman. I agree with what Mr. Michael Tian said about manpower supply for elderly homes. I'd like to follow up on one scheme managed by the SWD. It is a scheme for training young people to work in elderly homes. I'd like to know the effectiveness of that scheme. Secondly, life planning. There has been rapid progress of this life planning issue. I'd like to know the effectiveness and how it is implemented. Mr. Xiu, life planning may straddle a few panels. Well, I know. We have to see whether it is really for us to discuss this or whether we should have a joint meeting with other panels. Next. Mr. Andrew Wen. Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Michael Tian mentioned a matter at the transport panel, but I think it has something to do with the manpower panel. Recently, we saw contractors of the government involving in accidents like road repair contractor, and I'm worried about occupational safety. I'd like to know whether sufficient training has been provided to these contractors' staff. Well, occupational safety and health is always on our agenda. We will discuss with the government and then we'll come back to you. Any other members who would like to make a suggestion? Mr. Shuka-chun? Chairman, if life planning straddles different departments, then why don't we take up the youth pre-employment training scheme and the other scheme? In fact, the two have been combined. I'd like to review the effectiveness of the schemes and then we can get on to life planning. Yes, we have to take these up with the department. Any other suggestions? If not, I have received from the administration 2 items for discussion at the next meeting. Number 1, the latest development of employment services provided by the Labour Department. Number 2, the OSH situation in Hong Kong in the first half of 2016. We'll talk to the administration again to see whether indeed these are the 2 items. Ms. Claudia Mo, I'd like to ask about the first item, latest development of employment services provided by the Labour Department. Do you include the ethnic minorities? I know a report was given in May. What about the latest development? Well, yes, in the last term when this was discussed, I remember ethnic minorities were included. Yes, I know. I'm asking about the upcoming meeting. Well, I'm sure they have to include the ethnic minorities when they report to us. Any other questions? If not, I'd like to remind you that the next meeting will be on the 15th of November at 4:30. Please find the time to attend the meeting. Thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned.